go. Welcome to the Dynasty Deep Dive, where we go beyond the surface into depths unknown. I am joined by a very special guest today, Zareh from Football Guys. Zareh, like the reason you are on this show, man, is because you go beyond the depths. You go into the surfaces known by no man, deep cuts. We're talking about the deep sleepers you guys need to be aware of in order to win your fantasy football leagues. So let's get into it, man. I'm going to start off. Give me your favorite player who isn't getting enough love in this 2025 draft class.
Yeah, so my favorite player that isn't getting enough love is Jalen Milroe, right? But everybody knows this guy's name. He isn't a deep sleeper, but I don't think he's getting the recognition that he deserves. People have him as their QB4, QB5, second round guy. He could easily be the second. He could be the second best quarterback in this class. I think he has he has the best release, and he has the best pocket awareness. He understands how to feel pressure. We're not too far removed from Anthony Richardson going, top 5, Trey Lance going top 5. He has the same athletic traits as those guys, but he's a better passer, right? I mean, those guys were completely raw. And you see a guy like Anthony Richardson go in the as early as he did, and you expect the Colts to use him in a much more just athletic way as a rusher. They should understand that he is not going to get. He's a raw passer. He wasn't used like that coming out. They just went ahead and threw him in there as a passer. But Jalen Milroe, he's a more polished passer. I mean, he has a deep ball. He has a great deep ball. He has got all the traits of a good deep ball. He's got velocity, anticipation, accuracy. I think one of the only critiques I think there is about his deep ball is that it doesn't have this certain loft that is required to get those honey hole shots. If you guys don't know what a honey hole shot is, it's where you're kind of layering a ball over a DB, between a DB and between a safety. They come out flat. And I was kind of looking at his footwork, and it's because I think his front foot doesn't open up when he's throwing those balls that require more loft. And I don't know if you guys, if you get up, this is what I do sometimes when I want to understand footwork, is I'll do the footwork in my living room, right? So like, to understand like release stems for wide receivers and like it takes like 3, if for like a wide receiver to like drop down, stem, and it's like 3 steps. That's the most you'd want for a wide receiver to do. And I do that. I understand that because like I practice it. I watch wide receivers coach talk about it. So like with Milroe, like I was trying the rotation, and when your front foot's not open, like you just don't get, your hip can't come through, right? So if your front foot's closed, your hip gets restricted and becomes more of an arm throw, and it's a flatter arc throw. And I think if you watch guys like Russell Wilson, they open it up and you can get that big moon ball kind of shot that Russell Wilson has. You get more rotation. Anyways, so this is the kind of stuff I like to do. And so Milroe, anyways, he should be a first-round pick. I think he is.
Do you think he will be a first-round pick in the NFL draft?
I mean, it's hard to say because you see a lot of teams that just constantly bungle their picks and waste it on other players that shouldn't be going in the first round. I mean, I think there's a decent chance. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first round. I think there's a decent chance. I mean, he played at one of the top schools in the SEC. Completion percentage of 64%. I mean, he's a fine. If you put him in a system that plays to his strengths, he's going to be fine, right? If you put him in like a kind of like a spread offense where there's like half field reads, he can kind of look and study pre-snap leverage of like linebackers and safeties, understand where the route is capped, where the safeties are sitting. He can do like half field reads and take off and run, right? He can just do that kind of stuff to open the year.
Simplify the offense for him a bit.
Yeah. He doesn't really know how to adjust to defenses when they make post-snap changes, but you can simplify that and you can make a winning formula with him, a good run game. So I think he has a decent shot. I think if I'm going to give it a percentage, I think he's got like at least, I'd say like a 60% shot at getting drafted in the first round. And
wow.
I mean,
better than 50. And if he goes in the first round, adjust the ranks. Like I was actually talking to a friend of mine about this yesterday. Like you have to just really adjust the ranks on this guy, to your point. And it's not out of the question. So I'll pull up his player profiler. page here, he ran a 4.42 40-yard dash. Well, he actually ran a 4.37 at his pro day. But what Player Profiler does is we adjust. We've done the data, gathered the data, and seen that historically it's about 0.05 to 0.1 seconds of home field advantage, let's just call it, when they're doing their 40-yard dash at their pro day. And so this is actually, we have recorded it as slower than what we were actually reported, and still 99th percentile, still ahead of a guy like Anthony Richardson. Zareh, you and I were talking before the show, like he could have probably locked himself up in the first round if he would have participated in all of the drills, if we would have gotten a full RAS score from him, and people started getting enamored with his athleticism like they did with Anthony Richardson, right? So we've seen it time and time again. To your point, Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson, when these guys show that top end athleticism at quarterback, teams go all in. So I love it. I love the call, man. I'm not sold 100%, to be honest, just on like, this is, again, I hate being this guy, but there was some videos of him trying to throw short and intermediate passes at the Senior Bowl to against air, right? And struggling, like missing his target pretty badly. And it's like, is everybody going to do that? Sure. But I think that's where the skeptics come in, is just a little bit more questioning about, nobody's questioning the athleticism or the ability to be a solid runner, but the arm, I think people are a little, to your point, layering it, throwing with touch. These are things that people are a little concerned about. Last thing I'll say, athleticism at quarterback is fantasy gold, right? Like that's what I love about fantasy football, is you can sometimes delineate like a really good quarterback and a really good fantasy quarterback, a la Justin Fields, right? Like if he can be a little bit better than Justin Fields and hold down a starting role and keep the team happy with the way he's performing, we already know that type of archetype scores a lot of fantasy points, right? So,
yeah. And well, I will say that the athleticism is very nice, but it always starts with, you have to understand how to be a good pocket passer in the league. So as much as I do like Milroe and I do appreciate his athleticism and the contributions it could bring to fantasy football managers, you have to be a good pocket passer first. Yeah. And I think he is that. Yes, he has some touch issues. And as far as the Senior Bowl goes, I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm not giving it too much weight. I mean, he played at Alabama at SEC. He torched Georgia twice. This is Georgia's the school where the Eagles get all they handpicked all their defensive players, right? I mean, like he got him twice, So I mean, like
that would be a crazy landing spot as a backup for Jalen Hurts. Like it actually makes too much sense. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. If they were to get him in the second, I don't think they'd spend a first on a backup, right? Or and even a second, I think they probably catch some flack. But if somehow he ends up there, to your point, he's going to be good because the Bama and Georgia guys, they draft ball out every time if the Eagles draft him. So, well, cool, man. Let's take it a step deeper. To your point, like. I love that you brought Jalen Milroe to the table, but I got to throw up this tweet because I love it so much, bro. I mean, like, I don't even know where this is coming from. So that's why I brought you on. I'm like, well, let's talk about it, bro. Jarquez Hunter, no matter what, my boy Zareh says, even if there's a fire. So, like, talk to me a little bit more. I think, people don't know. People know this guy. Sure, they know him at the surface level, but he's going in the fourth, sometimes fifth round of rookie drafts right now on Fast Draft and even rookie mock drafts if you do those. So why are you tell us a little bit more about Jarquez Hunter and what makes you so high on him?
So this is just like a personal thing for me. Like, I think like, do you know the author? His name is Malcolm Gladwell. Have you heard of him before?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Writes a lot of great books, psychology books.
Yeah.
So he wrote this one book called Blink. And Blink is written on the premise of this concept called thin slicing. And it's where we all have these moments in life where we're so familiar with a certain subject matter that, say a cop walks into a room and he just sees something for a second. And police officers, they're used to understanding their environment. They know what trouble looks like. They have a sixth sense about that kind of stuff. And they see something suspicious and it just hits their gut, right? And that's thin slicing. That's your subconscious working and processing information without you doing anything, right? And I love watching running backs, and I've watched a considerable amount of running back prospects. Yep. And Jarquez Hunter, I watched him 2 years ago at Auburn. And when I first watched him, I saw something that just clicked, and it felt like it felt like Khalil Herbert to me. That's what it felt like. Ooh. He was in that mold of a functional early down running back. I didn't know what this year's running back class was going to look like or when Jarquez Hunter was going to declare. I was hoping he was going to declare last year. He didn't. I was shocked by that. I thought it would have been perfect for him.
He would have been a top 5 freaking running back.
Right.
That class was terrible. Yeah.
And with this class is so deep, that's why guys like, Nick Singleton stayed at Penn State. He's like, I'm not.
Partly so. Yeah.
And then Jonah Coleman, another fantastic running back I think we're going to hear about. He's at Washington. This guy's a grinder. He's awesome. So anyways, Jarquez Hunter, I mean, and then, after everything was said and done and he declared and we looked at all the stats, I mean, like it kind of like the stats kind of was the extra icing on the cake after it was all said and done and he declared, right? I mean, this guy, like, I'll name off some stats, right? So when you're looking at like a profile for like a top, we'll say top 16 to a top 12 running back in dynasty, you're looking at career yards per carry over 6 yards per carry, right? He was 6.3 in yards per carry career, which puts him 4th in this class behind Marcus Yarns, Travion Henderson, and Ashton Jeanty, right?
Love that stat. Playing in the SEC, and you've got a guy from Delaware.
Yes.
And Boise State. And of course, Travion, everybody knows Travion, right? But this is why he's being slept on a little bit, to your point.
Right. And then so we got another stat, yards after contact per attempt, right? And so for me, my threshold is 3.7. And I call that the Nick Chubb threshold because he is the best ever to do it. He was the king of yards after contact per attempt. So he was at 3.7. Jarquez Hunter, he was at 3.64 career yards after contact per attempt. Right underneath that threshold. Missed tackles forced per attempt, right? How elusive are you on what's your rate, right? He was at 31%. So that's his career missed tackles forced per attempt. That's 4th again behind Ashton Jeanty, Cam Scadabo, and Baishal Tootin, right? And then another one, I'll give you another one. Percentage of runs between the tackles that went 10 yards or more. That's Jarquez Hunter, 33%, far more than Caleb Johnson, Jeanty, Omarion Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson.
Is that the best in this class? Because when you shared that stat with me, I was like, that's unreal. If you tell me a guy is going in between the tackles and 33% of the time getting 10 yards, right, you'll take that all day. So
over a quarter of the time, he's getting 10 yards or more between the tackles. Yeah.
Well, I love that, dude. And I'll be honest, I actually was like, as I was spending the day thinking about the show, I thought to myself, who's the comp for this guy? Because, people hate labeling comps and stuff. And I think Player Profiler does such a good job with the best comparable player. But I think he's got a little more bowling ball to him than DeAndre Swift, right? But I don't hate the comp. I'm just saying there's a little more bowling ball to him, bouncing off tackles as opposed to like, I think DeAndre Swift's a really fast and somewhat elusive guy, but once he gets wrapped up, he'll go down. Like Jarquez Hunter will just straight up bounce off people. Yeah. And I like that Khalil Herbert almost mixed with DeAndre Swift a little bit. So that's a fun comp. You see the 30.1 BMI, right? That's like kind of the magic number is 30. If they're underneath that, there's kind of some data out there that show that they might not be able to handle a full workload in terms of durability and just teams not wanting to use them as a bell cow. Are we going to see this guy be a bell cow? I'm not sure there's enough chairs to go around for that, but could he establish a role, because he's a solid player? To your point, 6.4 yards per carry, 83rd percentile. It's so crazy that his athleticism score is somehow 17th in the class after running a 4.40, but in 21 bench press. But overall, 1,200 yards last year. I like it, dude. The more I've been watching this guy, the more I'm all in, and it's Jarquez Hunter no matter what.
Let's go.
Love it. Well, cool, man. I think you might be higher on this next guy than, first off, anybody, but second off, any football analyst, but also just you might be higher on him than Jarquez Hunter relative to you might not think he's as talented, but if there's a matrix of how hyped the player is and how much you like him. This guy's not hyped, but you like him a lot. And you actually, shout out to Zareh. You have your own YouTube and you did a cut up on this guy. And it was really good, dude. Phil Mafah. Like I said, I had to pull some of your tweets. I had to take the receipts. If this guy blows up in the NFL, you're gonna hit me up. You're gonna be like, "Yo, I'm gonna need that slide that you showed on the show one time." But I loved what you had to say about him, man. He's huge. He's the biggest running back in this class from a weight perspective, and he's got burners. He's got nimble feet, right? But I don't want to steal all your thunder. I want to hear just a little bit more about. Maybe anything I didn't already cover about why you like Phil Mafah so much.
It's just pleasant to see a 6'1", 235-pound running back run with the intelligence. He has the IQ to run. So this is what he does. I'll tell you what he does. That is just so lovely. This guy understands how to press the line of scrimmage, suck in linebackers, follow blockers, and he's got north to south acceleration. He's got legit long speed, which is something that I did not anticipate from this guy. I mean, I remember watching him in spring games in 2022 at Clemson, and he was running behind Will Shipley. And I said, man, this guy's huge. Is this guy going to play in the NFL one day? Is this guy ever going to declare? There's no way this guy this big is going to have the athleticism required to go to play in the NFL. This guy's just going to be a big, slow running back. And I saw him do a spin move in the open field it was a spring game. And I was like, okay, that's a spin move from a massive guy right there. And he eluded a tackle. And then again, it was the Khalil Herbert thing. I saw one thing and his name just stuck in my head, Phil Mafah. Yeah. And I was like, I've never forgotten about him. And he's got countless plays where he's outrunning DBs. And, sometimes he's just clear breaking away from them and running it 50 yards for a touchdown. Phil Mafah, it'll take a DB who can run a 4.4. It'll take them anywhere between 30 to 40 yards to catch this guy. This guy, he's a freight train. He'll make them breathe hard after they come down and try to tackle him.
Yeah.
So he's just a very intelligent runner. His pass blocking needs a little bit of cleanup. He understands what to do. He's a little sloppy. He's a very good receiver. He's got very nice soft hands. And I think it's just, I think that running, especially with the gap scheme coming back to the NFL a little bit, zone is still king in the NFL. Different zone runs are still king, but the gap runs are coming back. He had an unofficial visit with the Steelers. I think he had an unofficial visit with the official visit with the Bucs and the Steelers so far. And there are teams that need this kind of guy. They need a big guy who understands how to pull behind blockers, how to press the gap, who has straight line speed north to south. This guy has starter potential. I wouldn't be surprised if he is in a rotation in his first year. I mean, if he lands with the Steelers, I could easily see him in a rotation with Jalen Warren. I could easily see him pushing Rachaad White or pushing that backfield into three down committee. So yeah, I mean, he's just a fascinating prospect. I'm infatuated with him. I can't wait to watch him get some solid draft capital.
I love it. I do think if there's one thing I would say is what's your YouTube page for the people who want to watch that cut up you do with Phil Mafah?
It's just my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's You guys see that? That's on the overlay there. So look up Zareh's YouTube. He's got a 3-minute cut up on Phil Mafah, some of his runs that he likes. And I mean, it's pleasant to watch a guy that big move like that. 6'1", 234, an absolute unit, 4-star recruit coming out of college or coming out of high school, 11th running back in the class in 2021. So I like what I was seeing from him. And the production's solid, right? 1,100 yards this year, 965 last year. I think he is flying under the radar, and the film is solid. So we're gonna run a quick commercial, and we'll get right back to the show.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Jimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies, and use your favorite Player Profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Now, I very strategically placed that ad before we close the loop on Phil Mafah, because Fast Draft's awesome. Only best ball platform out there where you can draft all rookies. Do an all rookie draft. 6 rounds, 10 picks per round, so 60 rookies. Phil Mafah has yet to be drafted in Fast Draft, and I think there's been like hundreds, if not a couple thousand drafts already. So where are you finding cuts this deep? Only on the Dynasty Deep Dive, only with my boy Zareh. God, let's go. I love this, man. This just gets me freaking going. And by the way, he will not be 0% rostered much longer. I am getting in a draft. I am going to scoop up some Phil Mafah because I eat my own dog food. I eat Zareh's dog food. Let's go. So let's keep it moving.
You better hurry up, because I'm going to start doing them too. I'm going to get some Phil Mafah. I'm going to start doing it too. Scooping them up.
Dude, I mean, it's like that's crazy to me. So
Yeah.
I love it, man. Thanks for geeking out with me on that. I want to go back to some more guys that are deep cuts. These guys are one of them, I'll admit, isn't even in the Fast Draft database, because I talked to the data guys about this. I said, hey, where's this guy? Why can't I draft him? He had a solid combine. People are talking about him now. This guy is that deep of a cut where he's not even in the database for Fast Draft. And so you can't roster him even if you wanted to. And then this other guy's about 2% owned, so he is in the database. And these are 2 Gators, so I kind of grouped them together for that purpose. And that's Montrell Johnson and Elijah Badger. And I'm a Gators fan. My wife went to UF, so I've seen these guys. They're both solid players. Great, actually really good players. And I was a bit surprised that Montrell Johnson wasn't in the database, but they just said, hey, he wasn't on any mocks in the NFL draft mocks. Like he wasn't on the draft radar. So we didn't include him. Right. And another good example is a guy like Isaac Tesla, who just wasn't even in the database, because until Montrell Johnson ran a 4.41 40, nobody gave a shit. You know what I mean? But now people are starting to care. But my boy Zareh's been on it. So talk to us. This is not the only tweet that I gotta give you the disclaimer. You put a couple tweets about this guy, but talk to me a little more about what you see in Montrell Johnson that gets you excited.
Yeah, Montrell Johnson. I mean, so here's the thing with Montrell Johnson. He's got a RAS of 9.63, right? So that's 5th highest among this year's rookie running back class, right? So I mean, if we're just talking about drafting running backs off of athleticism alone, right? I'll give you some fun stats, right? So since 2000, there have been an average of 8 running backs with a RAS over 8.0 that have been selected in every draft, right? So in 2025, this year, there are 12 running backs with a RAS over 8. Montrell Johnson is one of them. So he has a decent shot at earning some draft capital. I think he's got, what is that? That's like a 70% chance. I haven't done the math. I don't know.
Yeah, roughly 2/3, right?
Yeah. So then if we're talking about players that have a RAS of 5 to 7.99, which is the tier below those top guys, there's 6 this year. There's 6 that have been drafted since 2000, and there's 10 in this class. And then obviously if we go lower, those guys don't really get drafted. Those guys, there's 4 per year with a RAS of 5 or lower, and there's 13 of those guys this year. So I think if we just go back to talking about Montrell Johnson, his high RAS score, if we talk about his processing, his yards after contact, he's a tough runner. He's got breakaway ability. I'm not saying this guy is going to jump up into the first tier of running backs or maybe even the second tier of running backs, but he's a notable guy. And then when we're also talking about, like, if somebody says, hey, man, where do you have Montrell Johnson this year? I'm going to say my response is it's always difficult because we have such a broad spectrum of running backs that fulfill different archetypes. We have early down runners, but we even have different types of early down runners, right? We have your Devin Neal's runner. You have your Devin Neal runners, right? Then you got your Quinjon Junkins early down runners. Then you got your Trevor Etienne pass catchers. Then you have your LeQuint Allen pass catchers and your Woody Marks pass catchers are all, and those guys are even different from each other. So Montrell Johnson, I think as an early down runner, is probably somewhere in the third tier of early down running backs. He has some honing to do of his abilities, right? Like he needs to better harness his athleticism as far as like you're pacing your runs and understanding when to attack and when to slow down. He still has a hard time with that. So I don't blame Fast Draft for not putting them in their database. But I mean, this, strictly speaking, from adding a guy at the end of your drafts, in your 4th round of your drafts, and having him sit on your bench and hopefully he develops. That's the Montrell Johnson is one of the best, and he's a reliable pass catcher too. So he's just a great stash. He's just a running back I love. If you haven't noticed by now, we've talked about Jarquez Hunter, Phil Mafah, Montrell Johnson. I love lunch pail early down runners who are just underappreciated. And these guys have the material, and they've put down the work and the blood and the sweat on film and in the stat sheet to let people know, like, they are for real, they are legit, and there is a path to touches for each of these guys that we've discussed. And Montrell Johnson, he's deeper than Phil Mafah or Jarquez Hunter, but he has a path. He's more of a taxi squad guy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't think it got much deeper than Phil Mafah, but if you say so, like, I guess you're right. I think you're right. If he's not even in the Fast Draft database, we're getting pretty deep. But again, I'm a UF fan. So like this is a guy I've kind of been on and liked as well. So like I listened to you because I respect you. And so when you started, I wasn't as aware of Phil Mafah's game, but Montrell Johnson. And that's when I'm like, yeah, my boy Zareh knows what he's talking about. Cause I'm like, this guy can play. Let's just real quick show his player profiler page. First off, his headshot's kind of funny because like he's got the cornrows on his ESPN and like most of the headshots they use, and we use this one, and he just looks like a little more funny to me, like a little more junior with the tie and stuff.
Yes,
and
sir.
But college yards per carry 5.7, nothing to sniff at, right? That incredible 40-yard dash and speed score. To your point, the RAS, relative athletic score, I think had him 5th overall, you said. They have him 5th overall in this class. And this was what was really interesting to me is like came on as a freshman and was productive. 3 straight seasons of 800 yards, dealt with a bit of injuries in his final season, but came back, played like he was 100%. And overall, a guy that I think if people want to really get deep into this guy, they should check out your X page because you do some good cut-ups on him. So I'll kind of throw that out there. Where can the people find, what's your X handle so they can go and see some of these tweets and see some of the film cut-ups you do on these guys?
So it's at Z Kantz, KANTZFF on X.
One of my favorite follows, man. And Great to have you on the show tonight. We're gonna close it out with the last guy that I had on the screen there, which was Elijah Badger on the right. And it's long past time you gave a fuck about Elijah Badger, right? This guy, like, I really like his game, man. And I mean, you'll see all sorts of people. We're not the only two talking about this guy. Like, he's one of the deeper sleepers at wide receiver in the class, but he's got just this kind of twitchiness to him and fluidity and a little bit of like, I heard someone else say the comp, so I'm not going to take credit for it. Someone said like a little Stephon Diggs to his game, and I couldn't unsee it. He's just he's got more polish than you'd give credit. This guy's going at the dead end of vast drafts. He's going at like right before pick 60, right before the end. And I think he's like only 2% owned in drafts. And I think I'm the 2%. I got some shares because I'm like the guy, like he to me is out of all the guys we've talked about, probably besides Jarquez Hunter and Jalen Milroe, obviously, like he's the one guy I think people would look back and be like, who is this guy? Why wasn't I all over this guy? Like the film is solid. Florida run heavy team. He was at ASU before that, I believe, but just a guy who I really like. So talk to us a little bit more about why you like Elijah Badger and, maybe some key indicators from his profile that you think make him a sleeper.
Yeah, and again, I'll start with RAS score like I did with Montrell Johnson. So he has a 9.30 RAS score, which places him 249th out of 3,408 wide receivers since that RAS score began. So that puts him in the 93rd percentile of wide receiver athleticism historically among all those guys. And so, like for me, so what led me to Elijah Badger is because honestly, I'm more focused on the NFL, and I started building my analytical profiles in January, very early January. Essentially, right when the NFL season is over, I pop the spreadsheets open. I don't even watch playoff football. I barely even watch the Super Bowl. I don't even care. I'm more interested in the rookie class that's coming up. And so, like
that, dude, you're a dog.
Yeah, that's what I love. I want to get on. I want to be there first. I want to be in line first, man. So anyway, so what brought me to him was, so when you're looking at career yards per route run, you want to be somewhere around 2.5, right? He was at 2.4 when I said, okay, that's interesting. Who is this guy? So that kind of like I always look at yards per route run first. That's my most important metric. Secondly, when I looked at his history, I saw that he was at ASU, and then he played at Florida in 2024, his first year in the SEC. He had 2.96 yards per route run in the SEC. His first year playing in the SEC. He's legitimate. Phenomenal. That's legit ball skills. That's legit football you're playing in the SEC, my man. Good job, Elijah Badger. Good job if you're watching this. And then 2.54 yards per team pass attempt. He was a major producer. He was a critical component. You want to see 2.50 or higher. He was legit. He was 2.54. That's if we're talking about him in man versus man coverage. He was second in yards per route run versus man coverage. Person who was first, Trey Harris. So he was second among all SEC receivers versus yards per route run behind Trey Harris, right? And that's important. And if we're looking at if we're talking about what he did, I mean, Matt Waldman does a lot. I'm sure everybody knows who Matt Waldman is. Matt Waldman does some really good analysis on Elijah Badger. He was showing Elijah Badger's struggle versus man coverage. Elijah Badger had this tendency to kind of try to muscle his way through press coverage and then work his way past it. He's developed now. He understands how to have hand counter swipes. He understands how to read the depth of the press coverage. He understands how to shake off. He doesn't just push off anymore. So he's refined now. And you can see that when you watch his ASU film and his Florida film, there's a contrast now. He understands. So yeah, exactly. But he still needs work at the snap. He still needs to refine his release package. But I mean, like if we're talking about so for me, you said it, he's fluid, right? You said he's fluid in the open field. That's exactly what I see. I see a fluid runner in the open field. I see a guy who shows his eyes late. Running past zone coverage, you want to show your eyes late. When you're running eyes, late hands, late eyes, late hands, right? So he's running past zone coverage. When he's running past linebackers on over routes, on crossers, he shows his eyes late to linebackers and then catch the ball, flips his hips upfield right away without any extra steps, right? I mean, he has the fluidity. And what I saw, I'm not the hot take guy. What I saw, I just see like a Malik Neighbors kind of style of okay. Let's relax.
You said, all right, I know this shit's about to break the internet.
It was energy. It was just energy that I felt. It felt very Malik Neighbors-esque. I'm not saying that he's that dude. I'm just saying open field, right? And then when he's running across the field, intermediate, I think intermediate, shallow is where he excels, and he's got a Golden Tate kind of vibe to me. But he can operate as a big slot in the NFL, like CeeDee Lamb. They're both about the same size. Him, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, these guys are all kind of like they all can operate in big slot. I think that is where he would excel if in his first year in the NFL. And I think he can contribute if needed in his first year in the NFL. Again, he needs to clean up he needs to refine his footwork at the stem. These guys, these DBs in the NFL, they're not going to fall for the same, BS that he was pulling against less skilled cornerbacks. So he needs to clean it up. He needs to sell it. He needs more violence. Like when I say sell, the more violence and intention you have. Like if you're doing a whip route, you need to drop hard and sell that whip route. You need your whole body to go that way and come back and snap back the other way. Like he needs to do that more. And he can get there because we've seen him improve in his game over the years. So that's why I'm all about Elijah Magic, because I think there's a future for that guy.
Dude, he's a dog to bring down in the open field. That's another note about him that I kind of had and just like when he doesn't want to go down after first contact. Like you wrap him up and he'll just keep the legs turning. And he also just flashed some ball skills on the sidelines, right on the bounce, toe tap. Those are the types of things to me that I think show like high athleticism, high football IQ kind of thing. And I love that you said like the way you kind of pitched him as a guy who you think can continue to improve, right? I actually love the Nelson Aguilar comp, but with better hands. Like imagine if Nelson Aguilar actually had hands. He probably could have been something, right? And I think this is a solid comp for him. 4.43 40-yard dash will play all day, right? And some solid advanced metrics. The thing that I thought was interesting here was 70 receptions, 65 receptions, 800 yards, 700 yards, 800 yards, solid production, right? 70 receptions, 65 receptions. That's more than Matthew Golden has had in his entire career, or not his entire career, but more than he had in his best season, right? And so that's all I'll rest my case on that, because I think we've hyped this guy up a little bit. And I think we might have jumped the shark when Malik Neighbors got thrown out there. But if you're getting one thing from this show, it's like that these guys warrant a little more attention than maybe they're getting. So, Zareh, dude, you crushed it, bro. I really enjoyed having you on the show. Let's close out with a couple like kind of rapid fire questions for you. So, Trevor Etienne or Jarquez Hunter? Trevor, not Travis.
So when it comes to Trevor Etienne, I know you said rapid fire, but so like Trevor Etienne, he's that archetype running back that everybody's anticipating him to be the receiving running back, right? Predominantly the receiving running back. But when you look at like their utilization, like Jarquez Hunter's utilization and Trevor Etienne's utilization as route runners on a per game basis over the career, isn't that difference, right? So if we're looking at career routes run per game, Trevor Etienne had 13, Hunter 13, career targets per route run. Etienne 14%, Hunter 13%, career target share. Etienne 6%, Hunter 7%. So it's very similar profiles as receivers, right? They're like pretty much neck and neck as receiving profiles go. But Trevor Etienne does have more single season receptions. Etienne topped out at 32. Hunter topped out at 21. Again, not a huge distinction. It wasn't massive. It's not again like Quint Allen or like Woody Marks. Or even like Cam Scatterbo, even, who was even better probably. But very
solid receiver.
I mean, as if I'll probably take Etienne just because I want that receiving floor.
Damn. Okay. Because he was. Let me see. I have, just so you know, on my fast draft rankings, I have Jarquez Hunter ahead of Trevor Etienne. I have him Brashard Smith or Jarquez Hunter.
Brashard Smith.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're not even that high on this guy. You would have him around where I have him.
I'm still saying the membrane. Like I'm still like I'm not going crazy. Like
Taj Brooks or Jarquez Hunter.
Don't put me on the spot. I'm gonna say something stupid.
Dude, there's no wrong answer. Like,
I like Jarquez. I like Jarquez Hunter. I like Jarquez Hunter better, but Taj Brooks is gonna get the higher draft capital.
You never know, dude. That's the one thing you just never know. You know, Hunter played in the SEC, and I feel like that does gain favor in draft rooms compared to like Texas Tech. It's obviously are they in Big 12 now, right? Or I know that they leveled up they changed conferences, I believe.
Yeah, I can't keep up. These teams change conferences.
Yeah, the conferences change and stuff like that. But I still think Auburn has a tough schedule, right? That's undebatable. So
yeah, he played on a really bad team.
Okay, Kyle Williams.
Texas Big 12, yeah.
Kyle Williams or Elijah Badger?
Kyle Williams. Yeah.
Okay. Kyle or Ricky White or Elijah Badger?
Badger.
Let's go. Ty Felton or Elijah Badger?
Felton.
Dude, my knock on Felton is when he's running, like you say late eyes, right? But sometimes they're too late. Like this dude's running and the quarterback's like getting pressured, dying to get rid of the ball. And Felton is just very set on like, I'm not doing shit until I get right here on the field. Like there's a bit of a football IQ thing I think that's missing there. Okay. Who else? LaQuint Allen or Phil Mafah?
Oh man. So again, you're asking. It's
putting you on the spot so hard, bro.
Or I want the receiving back, right? And the thing that's tough is with Phil Mafah and like Jarquez Hunter, it's harder to get on the field as a volume early down running back, and it's easier when you're guys like Trevor Etienne and like Quint Allen because you can just be easy satellite 2-minute back, third down back. So that's the only reason I prefer guys like LaQuint Allen over because I feel like they'd have an easier path to touches. Okay. And LaQuint Allen also isn't a scrub and pass pro either. He's pretty good. I'm a LaQuint Allen fan.
Okay, that's right. You are. Okay, Kyle Monangai or Phil Mafah? Let's go. Okay. Yeah. Kyle Monangai owned in 99.4% of fast drafts.
Wow.
Phil Mafah owned in 0.
Okay.
So
I don't get that.
Right. That might have been my favorite part of the show right there. That might have been my favorite part of all of the Dynasty Deep Dive shows so far was your ability to just like the look on your face when I'm throwing these at you. You're like, "Gah."
Tough, man. It's tough, man. Because I'm just scared to say what I think. That's why.
Get put on a poster. Okay, I promise you we'd keep it to 40 minutes. We're a little bit over, but like I'd be remiss if I didn't shout you out for one last thing. Like this guy, Zareh, is the pass blocking guru for running backs. Like he just watches for fun. He just watches running backs block. Like that's his idea of a fun Saturday. Give me your top 3 pass catching or pass blocking running backs in this class.
Well, it's Travion Henderson for sure.
Dude, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, Omarion Hampton is number 2.
Oh wow, I like that.
Number 3, I don't know if I have a solid number 3. I mean, there's Devin Neal isn't horrible. Devin Neal is pretty good.
I remember you had a whole thread about Devin Neal's pass blocking.
Yeah.
I love Devin Neal, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing with Devin Neal is that the thing with running backs and pass blocking, there's a difference between interior pass blocking and pass blocking on the edge. On the edge, you're on an island, you're by yourself, and you're kind of having to work in a circular motion and kind of move your feet in a different way than as opposed to moving straight up into the A or B gap and getting your hips through and your hands through and striking a linebacker in the chest, right? When you're moving this way, you're having to carry your momentum this way and you're on an island, less protection, and they can just swim around you. They're huge and they're fast. Linebackers are crazy and they can get around a running back. So Omarion Hampton, he's really good at that. Devin Neal flashes. He has some technique issues, but I think he can clean him up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Like I said, if you guys want to learn more about the game of football, you want to know more about the pass blocking running backs, the deep cuts that nobody has the balls to talk about, follow my boy ZKANTZ. Is it _FF or is it just FF after that?
I don't even know.
Find this man on Twitter. Show him some love.
Look for the mustache, man. Look for the mustache.
Yeah, look for it. You know what this beautiful face looks like. Well, dude, thank you so much for hopping on the show. Viewers, hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. I keep telling you guys, comment questions. Fucking roast us. I don't care. But let's hear what you guys have to say about some of these hot takes. Whether Elijah Badger is Malik Neighbors or not. And we will see you. I'll see you on the next episode of Dynasty Deep Dive. Good luck winning your fantasy league.